My name is John Leach. I'm the marketing manager for the Severn Valley Railway.
Okay. What was your first reaction to the news of the flood damage?
Well, I actually heard about it very early on. I actually saw the storm from my home. I watched it with my children because they were quite enthusiastic about all the thunder and lightning that was going on, and we saw it going across Clee Hill and heading off towards Bridgnorth. I was coming in on the bus in the morning into Bewdley, and my mobile phone rang, and the traffic manager phoned me and said, what time are you going to be in? I said, just coming down into Bewdley now, I'll be 3 or 4 minutes. He said, oh, jolly good, we've got 1 or 2 problems. By the time I got into his office a few minutes later, 1 or 2 problems and turned into, well, Leachy, looks as though we haven't got much of a railway left. Went on to explain, and while we were talking, there were phone calls coming in, mobiles going off, and we were gathering the information as to the extent of the damage. We learnt very early on, literally before 9 o'clock that first morning on June the 20th, that we had got substantial damage to the track in various places, but obviously over the next 48 hours, as people walk the line, because a lot of the line is not accessible, then we will really learn what task we've got ahead of us.
So how was the repair work organised?
Well, never having faced anything like this before, there's obviously a system in place. The first thing we had to do was really work out what we were going to do with the trains that were due to run that day. It was clear we weren't going to be able to operate out of Bridgnorth, but we quickly established that we were going to operate between Kidderminster and Bewdley, because this section of the line hadn't had too much damage at all. In fact, it hadn't been touched. We gathered that Kidderminster had not much more than a night of heavy rain. However, the first bit just beyond Bewdley, alongside Northwood Lane, was where the first bit of damage was, so it was quite clear that we were going to have to shut the line north of Bewdley. As offers of help came in, and we worked out what was required, we have a contracting consultant engineer, and he really took over part of the organising, finding out what was required. The main task in all of this was really to establish what was actually going to be required, what the extent of the damage was. And once that was done, then we could set about working out what we were going to do. But it became clear within a few days this was going to take some time to do.
Okay. What kind of support have you had from various organisations?
Absolutely astonishing. We very early on got offers of help from Advantage West Midlands, which is a government agency, and they were offering some money. We had early notification that one of the European funds had been contacted. We also got underway very quickly with our own appeal, because it was quite clear substantial sums of money were going to be required. Whilst we did have insurance, and the insurance paid for a certain amount, no insurance company would ever have insured any organisation for suffering the loss of the damage that we suffered. The line was breached in 9 places, and there were over 40 places that actually needed repair. So then, I think the most remarkable thing has been the public support, because from day one there's been people coming in and offering cash.
So how have passenger train operations gone so far?
Well, as I said, the section between Kidderminster and Bewdley here has not been altered at all. We even managed to hold some of our special events, like the Autumn Steam Gala, a day out with Thomas back in September, and the Santa season we would normally run through to Arley, but that's been running between Kidderminster and Bewdley. Gone extremely well. Numbers about 24 to 25% of what we would normally expect. So turning it round, that's a 75% drop in what we would normally expect. And the people have not been spending money in the shops in the same degree. But I'm pleased to say that the pub, in particular down at Kidderminster, has done very, very well. And it's proved yet again that in fact the pub at Kidderminster and the one at Bridgnorth do not rely on trains for most of their trade. It's actually coming from local people. It's gone very well indeed.
How have the public responded after what you already said?
Overall, very, very well. In addition to supporting us through buying Christmas presents in the shops, spending their hard-earned money in the pubs, but also coming on the trains. And once we'd reopened between Bridgnorth and Hampton Load, they've been supporting that extremely well. But also to the public appeal. Local businesses have been organising events, fundraising events for us. There's right from the gentleman who we've never heard of before, probably never will again, a gentleman from Hertfordshire, totally anonymous. I want to say anonymous, we don't know who we've never met him before. He sent a cheque for £10,000, and down to the school children who came up and handed over £5 of their pocket money. It doesn't matter, it's all fantastic that they wanted to give the money to us, and to date the public appeal has raised over £550,000, which I think for any organisation, whether it be a heritage railway or whatever, is still a fantastic achievement, and is an indication of the affection that people feel for the Severn Valley Railway.
So when do you hope to have a full service from Kidminster to Bridge North restored?
Well, as I say, we had the section between Bridge North and Hampton Low reopened last weekend, the 8th of February, and all being well, I do stress that, providing Mother Nature plays ball, we will be open on Good Friday, March the 21st. I say providing Mother Nature plays ball because we've still got one major engineering job to do, which is the viaduct over the Ball Brook between Arley and Hagley, and we've got a retaining wall at the base of the viaduct we're having to rebuild, but the brook has just been too high. We need the brook to be down to about 2 foot deep, and sometimes it's been up to 16 feet deep, which has meant that the contractors can't get in. I'm pleased to say this bout of dry weather we've just had has meant that the contractors have got in at last on Tuesday afternoon, and they're going to work through the weekends, and providing nothing else goes wrong and no other lorry drives into one of our bridges, we'll be open on Good Friday, March the 21st.
That's good to hear. Well, thank you for your time.
No problem at all. Thank you
very much.